Hi, I'm Lisa. Welcome to my studio. Very exciting day. We have a brand new big gigantic box that arrived, and inside this box is a brand new circle cutter. We're going to open and show you how it works. Here we have our creator's Circle Pro 24 glass cutting circle cutter. We're going to open this box and let's see what's inside. So we've got this thing really well taped here on either end. So it looks like nice packaging. So I'm feeling confident that this piece of equipment has arrived in good condition. Got lots of tape on here. Get that taken care of. Let's see how we open this up. These little tabs here and here. All right, we'll lift up on here. All right, well, they have done a very fine job of making sure that this is really, oh, here we go, really well packed. So I'm pulling up on pieces here. There we go. Here. All right. Okay, so we've got a business card, we've got some, information. Looks like we have some instructions here for cutting circles, which is terrific that they included that. We have some foam packing material here to make sure that this tool is secure and safe. More foam here. And then here we have, let's take this box out of the way. Now we've got to secure a sealed bag with all the parts in it so we know we're not missing anything. That's great. Go ahead and open up this bag. One of the things I like about this new cutter is it's very sleek looking and very streamlined with this clear acrylic body. Look at that. I mean, it's beautifully crafted, manufactured. Wow. One of the things I love about creators' products is that they're really well engineered and that they are high quality pieces of equipment that last a long time and give you really great results. This is a new generation Circle Pro. I have had the old one, which is blue and metal, for years, and it's proven to be very reliable. A great circle cutter, gives me great consistent results every time I use it. And I can cut small circles all the way up to big circles, so I loved it. But then recently I realized they had this new generation piece of equipment, and I thought, well, let's give this a try and see how it works. And so far, it looks like it's really well made. Everything looks like it, fits nicely. Got all these cool little, features in here. So it also has this little thing that says, please install legs before use. Honestly, I haven't used this piece of equipment before, so I'm not really sure what that means. I also have this little, I don't know what these things are, but these little rubber things, I guess, go into the surface. So we'll have to probably read the directions to find out exactly where to put these and how to use them. But before we do that, right here, this works on a waffle grid, which does not come with the cutter. It's something you purchase separately. And right here in this box, I have the waffle grid. So we're gonna go ahead and put this aside for a second and open the waffle grid, get that set up. So when we set up the cutter, we're gonna set it up right on this grid. Right here, I mentioned here, this is our glass cutter head right here. So as I'm moving this around the table, I'm being real careful not to bump that or drag it or do anything that could possibly damage that wheel. So I'm handling that and making sure I'm very careful with that placement here on the table. Let's go ahead and open this. More great tape, more great packing. Here we go. All right, so we've got more bubble wrap. We've got little rubber O-rings here. Create a bag. Oh, we've got little directions, more info here. So that's great. So they've really done a nice job of supplying information for these pieces of equipment. I'll move that out of the way because I feel like this waffle grid is kind of big, which is wonderful. That's one of the things I like about this tool and the previous generation one is that it's a nice sizable piece of equipment that you can do small circles and large circles at the same time. Not at the same time, but you have the opportunity to do a variety of different sizes. Look at all these waffle grids, isn't this cool? They're nice and clear. They've got these little notches that fit into each other. And we've got we have 6. And they look like they're close to 12, I don't know what the size is, but they look like they're about 12 inches. So let's go ahead and lay those out and see how this works together. We're gonna put that grid, this opening up. Move my razor blade out of the way. Well, let's see how these work together. And look, they just kind of lock in. Isn't that cool? See, these little tabs are gonna lock. I'm gonna lift this, not slide it, because I like the idea that it's clean and clear and neat and doesn't have any scratches. Lock those in. How fun is that? Take this one over here, lock it in. All right, let's see. So these are interchangeable. The nice thing about this grid is you can disassemble it when you need your table space, and then reassemble it, when you want to use your cutter. Now this one's fun. It's like a puzzle fitting in, and look how precisely that fits. Wow, that's really cool. Look at that. Oh, snaps. Okay, I'm using a little bit of pressure here to snap those in because I want those level for sure. That one might need a little work. All right, we'll slide this over a little bit. Okay, we have to rotate that. There we go. And as I said, the engineering that is behind their equipment is really cool. So I've got this beautiful, nice sizable surface here. And if you had less space or were using a smaller cutter or didn't need to use this large circle cutter, you could always just work with 4, and that gives you a more compact work area. So that's cool. Now right here, oh boy, it doesn't want to snap in. So this feels pretty level everywhere, but this one. So what do? A rubber mallet. Nikki suggests rubber mallet. And I'm also seeing here that this needs a Phillips head screwdriver. So let me go ahead and get those 2 tools and we'll be right back. I quickly looked through the directions and nowhere to say that you cannot use a rubber mallet. So we're going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to very gently tap on this because we want these level. This is a rubber portion of the mallet. This is a lead hammer, and it's really soft. And I may sound like I'm applying a lot of weight here, but I'm not. I'm very, very gently tapping this. Does it look like I'm very, very gently tapping? I'm being very, very gentle. Because, gosh, this is brand new. And I'm thrilled with the way it's so clean and neat. I don't want to do anything to damage it. So I'm going to leave that as is. I think that's fabulous. I just want to tell you that this is such a nice surface size to work on. I feel like I have plenty of room, lots of elbow space. So inside the packaging for the waffle, it says that you can use these to make a backsplash by doing a different type of configuration. I think that's really cool that this has multiple functions. Now, I'd tell you in my studio, I would probably set it up one way or the other. I wouldn't set it up as a working surface on the table and then a backsplash. I would do one or the other. So maybe that means you need to get 2 of these. So you have one for a backsplash and one to work on. Now, this information that came with the cutter, right up front they give you a questions, comments, and concerns card with a direct number to the manufacturer. So if you have any issues, questions, they're here for you. So they put this information right on the front, right here, easily accessible for you. That's fabulous. Here we've got some information on some other products that they sell, which is always great. We'll just take that out of the way. And then here we've got the Circle Pro 24 model 22 by 22. And we've got the setup. So we've got the setup instructions, got page 1. Let's see, we've got, we're going through, we've got 6 pages, including some instruction on how to cut circles. So first and foremost, let's note, some of the squares corners are too small to receive this. Okay, so let's see, we're gonna go ahead and, here this says, please install legs before use. Let's see if we can find the directions on where those go and why they go. Okay. All right, before we score, okay. Nope, doesn't give us any inkling on that. So, well, right here it says, note some squares in the corners are too small to receive the CP24, so you will have to align the assembly accordingly. For faster future reference, you may want to use a Sharpie to indicate the squares to plug into. That's a great tip. We've got that. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and install these. I'll bring the circle cutter over here where it's easily accessible. Again, I'm gonna grab, I'm gonna roll up this piece of paper here and just tuck it underneath that cutter wheel to protect it while I'm doing it so it doesn't get bumped by this grid or get damaged at all. Go ahead and open this up. Oh. I'll pour them out here on this piece of paper. Right, there's no little parts in there, so that's good. All right, well, this is pretty self-explanatory. Let's see if I can get this out by hand. Yep, sure can. So there's 4 of these little risers, and there's 4 screws, and there's 4 holes. That's pretty self-explanatory. Put the screw in here. I'm going to turn this a little bit, make it a little easier to work with. This is one of those moments where I wish I would have thought to get my screw gun, but that's right. This piece of equipment comes with just enough instruction that you can get to working with this cutter quickly without bogging you down with pages and pages of stuff you don't want to read or don't want to look at. So that's what I like about these instructions. They're quick, they're large print, easy to read, and they just hit the high points so you can get right to working. So basically it says I should set up a 22 by 22 inch grid. Well, when I set up the 6 pieces, it's actually 22 by 34, so it's larger. So really you can get away with just 4 of these grids. You don't need all 6. But I thought, well, once these grids are assembled, they were a little snug to snap together. I thought, well, I'm just gonna leave those together. I have the table space, I have the room. I don't have to disassemble this to put it away and make space. So I'm just gonna leave the 6 here and I'll just set up accordingly. Then it shows that you need to set the cutter up diagonally across the grid. And it says there are some holes in the grid that these little stands, these little legs, will not fit into well. So it suggests that you'd use a Sharpie to mark it, which I think is a great suggestion. So that next time you just go back to the same 4 little marking spots, those holes, and you're good to go. Also, there's this bag of fun little stuff. I'm not sure what it is. So I looked at the directions and they call these friction buttons and a removal tool. So let's open that up. See where my razor blade went. So it says that the friction buttons will make it easier. Okay, the friction buttons, if you place them around the perimeter of your glass, will keep it from sliding around. And that has always been a problem with the other cutter. The previous edition of this, when I was cutting small pieces, the glass would sometimes rotate. Or if you're cutting something, say you have a 6-inch, 5-inch piece of glass, you want to cut a 4-inch circle. It's so small that when you do that motion, it slides right out from under the cutter. So I would take masking tape and tape the glass to the surface. Well, these very cool little buttons are going to apparently make it so the glass doesn't move on you while you're cutting, which I think is a fabulous addition to this piece of equipment. So I'm just going to put these on top here because I'm not sure what size I'm going to cut yet. I'll pour these out. And then there is this removal tool. Cute little thing. So they suggest these little friction buttons. They have a solid bottom and then a hole in the top, and then you use this little tool once they're in the grid to pull them out. Let's give it a try. Let's put one over here. All right, now how do we get that out of there? Oh, can't get your fingers around it. Could maybe use needle nose pliers, but no, look at that. Stick this little tool there, pops right out for you. So that means that you can move these around as often or as necessary as possible. Make them tight for a small piece of glass, make them big for a larger piece of glass. That's a great feature. All right, so I'm going to take these little friction buttons, put them off to the side temporarily, as well as a removal tool, and take the directions, move those over here. And like I said, they're quick and easy. Get to the point. Let's get to the fun part here. All right, so I'm going to turn this now, the grid waffle surface. I'm going to start in this corner and see about. Okay, so that one, see, it doesn't want to go into. So lift this up over here. It's kind of sticking a little bit. And let's see. I'm going to work on the 22-inch surface because, oh, there we go. Look at that. Look at that. Okay, so my 22-inch surface ends here. It's here to here. And this is one row in, this is one row in, and this is right on the edge. Push that down a little bit, and look how beautiful that is. I mean, I'm going to slide this over a little bit for you. Look how beautiful that is. This feels very state-of-the-art with this acrylic here. Now here, there's a little bit of an adjustment happening here, and there's a tool here to tighten that down. So, according to the directions, let's see what it says about this before we get started. All right. Let's see, when scoring diameters 5 inches or smaller, adjust the knob handle. It is necessary to adjust the knob handle. This is the knob handle right here. Okay, this is the knob handle, and this is the adjustment right here. So when we're doing something 5 inches or smaller, we want to loosen this knob here, this thumb screw, and slide the knob assembly inward to the center, like that, and then you tighten it down. So it gives you a smaller rotation here by being closer. Now, if you're cutting something 5 inches, okay, now it's ready to cut something 5 inches or less. Now, if you're going to score something greater than 5 inches, simply loosen the black thumb screw and return the knob assembly to the outermost position as far away from here as possible, giving you a bigger radius here and a bigger circle, a bigger arc. That's great. Super easy. This is very smooth. The texture on it is easy to get your thumbs on, so you can grab it really quickly and easily. The adjustment is very smooth, so that's nice. Got that snug. All right. Now, the rest I kind of know from experience from the other cutters that I've used. Right here, they've got increments all the way up to, I can see 24 inches right there. And this right here, the glass cutter tip is right here. It's installed up inside there. I was thinking, right here there's increments, and I'm thinking, you know, I have these two not lined up, and I thought, well, maybe I better check the directions and see. And they show that this arm is lined up with the ruler here. So I'm going to loosen this and bring it over so that it lines up with that, and then snug it back down. Now I'm being real gentle with this because I don't want to, you know, over tighten it, because then I won't be able to untighten it with my hand, with my bare hand. Right here there's a ruler, and it has increments on it. right here is a cutting wheel with a carbide steel wheel. It slides up inside there. The tool comes with the glass cutting wheel head already installed and ready to go, so that's great. The nice thing about this particular type of cutter head is it's replaceable. If you damage it, you wear it out, maybe you're cutting so many circles you need to replace it, you can just loosen this little yellow knob, it'll drop out, you can put a new one in, and you're good to go. So that's a great feature, because some other glass cutters do not have removable cutter heads. You just, when you wear it out, you throw it away and you get a new one. So that's a terrific feature. Then you can loosen this right here, this knob right here, and I'm going to lift this up a little bit to make sure that that cutter head doesn't slide on that surface and get damaged. But you can then slide this to any increment that you want. So let's say we want to make a 21-inch circle. We're going to line this up with 21 inches. On this side, we have centimeters. So depending upon where you're working and what you're more comfortable with, then you can just tighten this down. So I'm looking at that little line right there. Tighten this down, and then we're ready to cut a 21-inch circle. Now today, I have this pattern that I plan to make, and it's an 8-inch circle. So we're going to cut a circle out of blue glass for this particular piece. So I'm going to lift this up a little bit so that cutter wheel is not touching on the surface. Loosen this, bring it over to 8 inches, and I'm going to snug that down. Here we go. And so it's larger than 5, so we want this arm extended the way it is. We'll move this material out of the way. Grab our glass over here. Look at this pretty blue. Isn't that awesome? This nice opaque blue. All right, so I'm gonna lift this up a little bit because the cutter is very close to the surface. And I don't, as I'm sliding this glass in, I don't want to damage that cutter wheel. So I'm gonna just lift these up a little bit. Loosen them, lift them up. Oh, wait, hold on. We forgot these little guys. These, let's try this. This could be really fun. I gotta just put 4 of these in. Kind of randomly up. Make sure we have that little opening up. There we go, line that up right there. Tuck that in. And you know what, it wouldn't be a bad idea, so these don't get lost, to just store them in the surface over here, because I have this little removal tool. I can store that right there as well. There, oh, almost had that one in upside down. There we go. So if you're working on a larger piece of glass, you might want to use more of these. If you're working on a smaller piece, you might want to use fewer. I'm going to lift this up a little bit. Okay, there we go. Slide this in. Let's see how it slides on these things. Oh, it doesn't slide very well at all. That's great. That's great. All right. So I'm going to lift up a little bit. I like this diagonal configuration because you can fit a pretty large piece of glass in here, and this whole apparatus here is not in your way. So I'm going to tuck these back in real quick, and what I want to do is make sure that the cutter head is not going to fall off the edge of the glass. Now, oh, look, that's going to be in the way. We'll take that out and put it over here. Okay, so I need to move the glass all the way over here to this grid. All right, so I'm going to lift up a little bit, lift up over here. There we go. And it's not sliding too great, which is terrific in reality. Put that there. So I like to cut where I'm cutting off about a 1/2 inch. I tend to get a better score that way. Make sure these are secure. Now I'm going to lift up on this a little bit. Make sure it's not going to fall off the glass on any of the edges. Look how beautifully that clears there. Okay. So, you know, it doesn't really look like an 8-inch circle. It looks small to me. So I'm going to take my tape measure and measure. And yeah, that's an 8-inch circle. You know, sometimes when you're working with a new piece of equipment, you want to double check things till you're familiar with it. And then once you're familiar with it, you trust it and you just move forward without those little slowdowns. All right, this is the exciting part. I'm gonna make this score line. So I'm just gonna grab here, and you can start really anywhere, but let's just do it. Oh, guess what? The cutter head is not tightened. Let's try that. There we go. Okay, so what happened was the cutter, when I was pushing down on this, the cutter head had a little flex in it. So I snugged this up again. It's likely that may have gotten loosened in shipping when it came here. So that's a good thing to check. All right, here we go. Oh, that was beautiful. It had terrific sound. I didn't have the greatest pressure over here. That was me, not the cutter. I was a little, you know, getting used to the rhythm of it and how smooth it is. It's very smooth. But when it came back to where I started, it matched that cutter exactly in the right spot. That's a big plus. I'm gonna lift this up because again, I'm trying to protect that cutting wheel on my cutter. Pull this out, move this out of the way. There we go. Tuck this back in, and I can see why they suggest you put Sharpie marks there, because it's gonna be a whole lot easier to find those locations next time if I do that. All right, I'm gonna go get some, I need to get some handheld tools so we can go ahead and cut the remainder of this out. I'm thrilled with the way this score looks. It's nice and smooth, it's even, it's clean looking, so that was terrific. Now I'm gonna take my glass cutter and do what we call kind of extension score lines to break out the remainder of this glass. So I'm taking my cutter, going from the outside edge in to meet the score line that's already there, and then out. So I'm creating, glass wants to cut straight. So by doing these extra scores, what I'm trying to do is stay in control of that break so that it breaks away from my circle in a pinwheel sort of fashion. And I'm trying to keep the biggest pieces possible so I have less scrap. Take my running pliers, just gently squeeze here. All right, I'm gonna rotate this around. Gently squeeze here. There we go, beautiful. Nice. Okay. Now you can do, if you're new to cutting circles, you may want to make more of those extra score lines to ensure that you have success. You know, when you've been doing it a little bit longer, you can make fewer. It also depends, you know, if you're running low on glass, if the glass is textured, some other things that might contribute to why you might want to make more of those score lines. I'm going to take my pliers, peel off that little extra material. And I feel like that score was very consistent all the way around. I have a terrific shape. Even when I'm doing these little extra pieces, they're coming off very, very crisp. You know, I don't have to fight them. The score line was so nice and even. There, now we've got this beautiful circle. There you have it, my first circle with my new Circle Pro 24. I'm really thrilled with the way this piece of equipment works. It's very smooth, very accurate, very streamlined, and kind of modern looking, which I think is wonderful as well. Very well engineered. All the different features fit very nicely into the grid, into this waffle surface. You know, they've thought of everything, whether you want to cut small or large circles. The only drawback I would think would be the size of it. It's very large and bulky and takes up a sizable amount of real estate on your work table. But considering the variety of sizes that you can cut and the accuracy, I think that far outweighs the amount of space it takes. And I'm more than happy to have it on my table, taking up that real estate so that I can cut circles quickly and easily, and more importantly, accurately, with having less waste and getting more success, which is always a positive. So I'd like to thank creators for letting me use this piece of equipment. Worked great. I'm really thrilled with it. I'm happy to have the new version. The old version worked great, but this new version, I'm sure you're going to see a lot of it and be able to cut a lot of circles in the future with great accuracy. Thanks for joining me. Please like, follow, and subscribe. We love it when you do that. And please consider becoming a premium video member. We'd love to have you join us. We have new videos coming out all the time, and we're really having a great time over there creating a community of happy glass fusers. So until next time, happy fusing.